And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the world famous Hit the Ropes Radio. This is episode number 330. It's not 3:30 as in the time, it's 9 o'clock, but episode 330 of Hit the Ropes Radio. Demetrius Stokes here with you on a beautiful Wednesday night. Darius Brown joining me as well. We're supposed to have the whole crew on again tonight, as you guys loved last week's episode. So we said, hey, let's bring everybody back for another week. Let's talk some WrestleMania, as it was indeed the ultimate thrill ride. So we're so glad that you guys are joining us tonight. Those that are in the chat room, those that are listening live on YouTube, we certainly appreciate it. Darius Brown, you were live at WrestleMania, man. How are you feeling? Are you still on that high?
Yeah, man. I'm still buzzing from WrestleMania. As I say this like every 30 seconds. It's the very best WrestleMania I have ever attended live. Of course, you guys point out that it's only the second WrestleMania I've ever attended live, but that's okay. It's still the greatest. It's still the greatest. So yes.
Hey, I've been to two myself. I attended 23, which was in Detroit, as Shane Howard, the Caribbean Playboy, joins us. Also was in attendance at WrestleMania. I was so jealous of you all. Once I saw the set, I was like, man, I hate these guys. I really do. But I attended 23, which was at Ford Field in Detroit. That was a standing room only seat. I paid $25 for this ticket to WrestleMania, and I stood for 4 hours. It was hell on earth. I don't care how much you love wrestling. I wanted a seat. I was sitting anywhere that I could, on the ground, on the side of partitions, anywhere I could find space. The only cool thing that I think happened was we were standing. Our standing room only area was right by. There was a match involving like the ECW Originals versus, I don't even remember what faction it was, but they came out right by us, and like RVD walked right past me, and that was like cool. But 23, and then we all did 27 together, and that was awesome, or so I thought, until I watched it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, this WrestleMania sucked. But it was fun being there. It was fun being there. But guys, give us some of the experience. Give us some of the insight on what it was like just being there. I know the crowds are crazy. Give us some insight.
That was one of the things I was going to mention. You know, wrestling crowds in general are pretty strange. You know, Devin, Darius's brother, kept pointing it out throughout the night. He was like, "Man, wrestling fans are weird." You know. To WrestleMania, you have wrestling fans from like so many different cities and countries. You know, you're just seeing the weird of the weird from all parts of the globe. So that itself, you know, you just watch these fans and how some of them are like so into this, you know, with the costumes and the, you know, like my thing, I don't understand why people drop all this money on these championship belts.
Like, I want one, man. I'm not gonna lie. I just can't justify.
Are you gonna drop? Exactly.
No, man. My wife would kill me, bro. I can't justify it. That's the only way. I would have to like sneak it or something. But I mean, it's a huge belt. It would never work.
If I can win that in like a contest, fine. But these people are dropping, you know, because these things look just like the ones on TV. This ain't the one that you get at Walmart like I got for my kid. I'm just like, man, that's a little too rich for my taste.
I hear you. I used to go to this spot before the existence of the WWE Network. I used to go to this like pub, like in a suburb, and watch all the pay-per-views. You could pay like $5, and it was cool because you were watching it, you know, amongst those weird and crazy wrestling fans that you speak of. And there was always one or two, maybe three guys who had their replica belts. And you know, I was like, man, I like them, but I don't think I can drop down the dough. Darius, I saw photos on Facebook. You were You were holding a Money in the Bank briefcase, and I think I saw one of your kids with the Sasha Banks chain on. You guys were living it up down there in Orlando.
Yeah, man. We jumped in a little bit of the experience. We went down to Access. I didn't realize it was Access. I thought it was just a WWE pop-up shop because they were having that, in different hotels throughout Orlando. They had little shops and stuff like that. So I thought that's where I was at, but it turns out it was their mega store, and it was Access. So it was combined. So we walked in, we looked around, saw the things that we couldn't afford to buy. And we also saw Virgil. We saw Virgil at the WWE shop. Now, he was not scheduled by the WWE to appear at such shop. He just happened to show up. And it was it was the lonely Virgil in person. I didn't think I'd be able to experience it. But he was just walking around, hoping somebody would recognize him. 3 guys came up to him and asked what he was doing, and he said he was supposed to be at, I think, WrestleCon, and to please come out and join him tomorrow. He'll be there at 9 and all day. So he was recruiting people to come to his lonely booth at WrestleCon. So I thought that was kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Sounds crazy. Oh, Virgil, man. Hey, gotta get in where you fit in. I guess he's like thousands of wrestling fans here. I'm gonna get somebody to come to my booth and show me some love at WrestleCon. So let's talk a little bit about the show, about WrestleMania itself. Obviously, I was watching from the comforts of my own home. It's such a different experience when you're watching the shows live because you don't have the commentary. So I always wonder, or always have wondered if the same things that we see watching it is the same things that you guys perceive like being there live. Some things are obviously obvious, like the crowd went nuts when the Hardy Boys came back. Like that, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody went insane when that happened. But from you guys' perspective, from being at the show live, in your opinion, what was the best match of the night? I'll tell you what mine was from watching after I hear watching live and after I hear what you guys say about being there in person. Probably the same, but you never know.
Darius, you can take it first.
Man, there's a lot of fun matches throughout the night, but I think just the overall atmosphere, I have to give it to the tag team bout, the ladder match with the return of the Hardys. Man, we saw the New Day in ring attire, and they started to tease that there was a 4th team in, and we thought it could be the Hardys. But they were in gear, so they had that curveball, and as soon as that music hit, boy, it exploded in there. So, and the elite chants were going nuts throughout the night. So it was great. That was my favorite match.
But the New Day being in the attire, it didn't fool me as a person watching because you could tell they were kind of cutting their eyes back and like walking real slow. I'm like, okay, it's not them. I mean, initially when they first came out, I was like, maybe, right. But then I was like, no, something's up. Now it would have been cool. I thought that, to have them in the match and have 5 teams in it, New Day being as successful as they've been the last year or so. To have them in there with the Hardys would have been cool, but definitely I could hear the crowd like chanting the Hardys' name even before the music hit, and then once the music hit, they just lost it. So Shane, what about you? What was your favorite match of the night?
Well, as much as I'm a huge Hardy Boy fan, and since this whole Anthem sports Hardy Boys dispute, has made me even a bigger Hardy Boys fan. I just want to hit on one thing before I tell you my favorite. throughout the night there, Darius and I, we were going back and forth about who's going to get called up and everything. And, we were saying, when's the last time we've seen somebody like debut at WrestleMania? And even though the Hardy Boys are not, new faces in the WWE, we were like, could it possibly happen? We're kind of on the fence, like, yeah, it could, but we're not sure. But I'm telling you, once I saw the New Day come out and they were like, there's gonna be a fourth team, I was standing there. I was like, no, I'm like, no, it can't be. Wait. Part of the crowd that just erupted, and that was just great. But as much as I loved that and the match itself was entertaining because of the whole surprise factor, my favorite match of the night is still the very first match on the main show, which was AJ Styles versus Shane. It wasn't a technical masterpiece, and it was supposed to be like a straight wrestling match, but of course, when Shane McMahon's involved, you're gonna get some weapons involved. Is the amount of action and the amount of burden he must take on, but it was an entertaining bout. So that was my favorite match.
Yeah, and as a viewer at home, I would actually agree with you, Shane. That was actually my favorite match of the night as well. Shane and AJ did their thing in the ring. And last week, here I was saying that AJ Styles was getting the short end of the stick. I was like Corey Graves. I don't know if you guys saw Corey Graves went to Twitter. He was very critical of the fact that AJ was in a match with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania and not a more high-profile match. He was really critical of that on Bring It to the Table, which is the show he does with JBL and Peter Rosenberg. So he went to Twitter, I think it was today or yesterday, and said, hey, I'm going to eat crow on this one. Shane and AJ Styles tore the house down. And I actually agree. AJ Styles is just one of those guys that can have a wrestling match with a broomstick and it's going to be, probably a good match. He is, to me, for my money right now, he's the best wrestler today. I don't know if there's anybody, better than him. I know Kenny Omega, people make arguments for him. I haven't seen him wrestle a whole lot. So based on what I've seen, I would say AJ. It was a great match. The tag team match was great. The first 4 or 5 matches were it's so funny when they go at the whole thing about it being the ultimate thrill ride, because it was it was really like a roller coaster. So it was you're starting on this ascent, you're going up, up, up. And then as the show progressed, which is really weird, as you got closer and closer to the main event, to me, the show actually got worse. I mean, it was great. It was a great WrestleMania overall. It was really good. One of the, I think probably the best, in my opinion, and maybe even better than 30. I don't know what you guys think, but definitely better than last year's and 31, although Rollins cashing in was a huge, that was probably one of the best WrestleMania endings, to end the WrestleMania like that was pretty huge, but the show overall was just okay. But the show kind of went downhill. It started with the bang, and right around, I would say, I'm trying to think. The last 4 matches were just kind of were just okay for me. What about you guys?
I can't remember, all of the matches in their sequence.
Right.
But I will tell you that the Orton Bray Wyatt match, as cool, I guess, as it was to suddenly see these images appear in the middle of the ring, the match itself was not that entertaining. I mean, the feud as a whole was never entertaining to me. I never understood why they dragged it out so long, and it was just a drag. So that match right there was one that just took me completely out of it. And the main event, as good as it wasn't a bad match, at all. I like the story it told, and Undertaker basically giving the reins, pun intended, to Roman Reigns to say that this is now your yard and all of that. I enjoyed all of that, but the match itself, I didn't like feel it. It just was a good match, but I didn't get totally invested in it. The only reason I felt that it should have been the main event was because of what happened at the end, where he retired, or at least that's what they're leading us to believe. And then the Brock Lesnar Goldberg match, that was entertaining for us there. I don't know how it came off at home, but for me, we were going like crazy, and we're just like, another one that we're just keeping count. We were keeping count of the spears, and we were keeping count of the suplexes, and I gave their match grief when they did it in a minute, whatever. But being there live and seeing that, I was into it.
Yeah, I kind of liken it, and this is me being you guys probably like, what is he talking about? This is like, there was an old school boxing match between like Thomas Hitman Hearns and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And people like laud this fight as like one of the greatest fights ever. And the fight was like 4.5 minutes. Like seriously, it was like one of the shortest boxing matches ever, but people loved it. Goldberg and Lesnar, I think the match ended up being just under 5 minutes. And we talked about last week, I think everybody's I think I gave the over under of 15 minutes, and I think we all said under. And so we all were right in that regard. But the match just came across as okay on TV. So I think the last 4 matches were Bray. I think it was Bray, Orton. Then it was Goldberg, Lesnar. Then it was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. And then it was Undertaker, Roman Reigns. And to me, those 4 matches collectively, because I think there were 13 matches on the card in total, I think counting the pre-show stuff. So those last 4 matches weren't as good as any of the previous 9 matches, sans maybe the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal thing. I'm sorry, I didn't like the whole Gronk thing. I thought that was super cheesy, thought it was whack. But the SmackDown Women's Championship match was just okay. Goldberg and Lesnar was, I would say, good. Roman Reigns and Undertaker, as you said, told a good story. I just think the Undertaker was really, really bad. Like, it wasn't really Roman Reigns' fault. I just think you're dealing with a old Undertaker, and I'm hoping he retires. Like, honestly, I love Taker. Don't get me wrong. The best gimmick in the history of professional wrestling, but it is truly, truly time, I think, for him to hang it up. And hey, nobody deserves it more. So it was a fitting way for him to go out. I like the way they did the end with him kind of just fading away and sinking into the ground and all of that. So that was cool. But I just thought the show went downhill after such a roaring start in the beginning. Darius, you got anything to add?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the show was, I think, 22, 23 hours long. So, I mean, us in the crowd, we were starting to get tired. I'm sure those who had the adrenaline high to start the show, by the time it's up for their match, that's gonna fade some. But yeah, there's a lot of botches. I don't know if it came across as clear on TV. I would imagine it would in the main event. The Roman Reigns Undertaker, the last couple of sequences.
Yeah, he tried to do the tombstone and he couldn't get him up. Yeah.
He missed, I don't know, I can't remember now, throwing to the ropes or something where he tried to grab the hand. So there's a lot of things that it was really clunky at the end. And that was horrible. The other thing that was like, oh, whoa, what's going on was Becky Lynch. And what was going on with the hairdo? And what was she trying to be like an avatar, an Irish avatar? I didn't catch that right away. Like, she was in the match for like 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, what the heck happened to Becky Lynch? What did she do? No, stop, Becky, stop. So that was kind of took me aback. And then definitely you touched on the Mojo Rawley. That thing, to me, I haven't seen ESPN but it was buried on and they covered the WWE. You know, they're there every freaking day, and it was not headline news that Gronk was at WrestleMania. It was, you had to scroll. It was way beneath the fold. So I don't know if they got what they wanted out of that coverage. I know it was on TMZ as well. So, but what a waste. What a waste. I know Baron Corbin and you know those before him haven't exactly leaped into world title contention since winning that, but to me it is just a glorified way to get everybody on the card, and that was very apparent, especially with Gronk jumping over. So
yeah. Well, you can't be mad at that. Go ahead, Shane.
I at that point I'm like, shoot, freaking jumped. I mean, our seats weren't too far. You know, I saw one guy in our section just hop the rail. He was sitting somewhere else, but he just hopped the rail from where we were and went to the level, the floor level, where they have the folded chairs and everything. So I'm like, shoot, if Gronk is just getting in there, we might as well just walk down there our dang self. But then the follow up to Mojo winning promo last night on SmackDown was just like, really? It was just so bad. It was off. I was just like, what the heck am I watching?
Yeah, it definitely was. I agree with that. That's a good point, Shane. I was gonna say too, Darius, you can't be mad at guys who want to get a check, man. You know, everybody wants to be involved in WrestleMania, so they slap 35 guys in the ring. You know, you can't be mad at that. But yeah, I agree with you, Shane. I thought I knew that they were gonna go away from. It was too obvious to let Braun Strowman or Big Show win it. They were so focused on those two guys that you kind of knew going in. It was like, okay, neither one of them are gonna win it. But what a great opportunity for a dude like Sami Zayn. Like that's what everybody thought. Once Braun and Big Show got eliminated, I think one of you guys even tweeted like, "Is it Sammy's to lose now?" Or somebody threw that up on Twitter, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's probably gonna be Sami Zayn." Mojo Rawley was probably the last person that I thought. Well, maybe Jinder Mahal, but the last two guys were probably the last two guys that we thought would have any chance of winning it, but. You know, hey, I understand guys got to get involved. We didn't see any surprises, you know, in the Battle Royal. Usually they throw, you know, last year they had Shaq, or it was the year before last, I don't remember, but they had Shaq one year, you know. They had Tatanka one year, and I laugh because that's not really much of a good surprise. That's terrible, but have something. You know, they could have Virgil in there, man. He wasn't doing nothing. Why they ain't call Virgil up and say, "Come on, man. Be in the I think
I would actually have gotten a big pop. It's so ridiculous that people would have gone nuts and got behind him. They didn't want that problem, though. They didn't want that problem.
Yeah. But overall, the show was good. You know, it definitely was. Like, I know everybody was commenting on how long it was, but when you were watching it, you know, it kept me entertained. Like, it didn't feel like, now I can imagine you guys being in the arena, you know, with no commentary, no opportunity to go in the kitchen, make you a sandwich or get you a snack or something and come back down, you know, and watch the show. I can imagine for you, that would be, you know, that it was kind of long.
Yo, listen here. Go ahead, Darius, because I think we're on the same wavelength. But go ahead first. Go ahead.
Because I'm about to talk about when I was in line for 72 minutes to get a drink. Now, not only did I get the souvenir cup, you know, this one, it had the little 3D reflector. So I was like, ooh, wow, impressed. Let me get this $8 cup. But they put the 20-ounce soda in the 32-ounce cup. No ice. The thing was hot. I'm waiting in line for this thing forever. The show is starting. Shane, I got taunting me because he picked the right line, and he was done with his drink, and I'm still waiting for us. And I got this old lady cursing behind me. and I'm trying to watch somebody pulled up the show, the WWE Network on their phone so I can see what's going on. Meanwhile, they got TVs now everywhere. And this old the what do they call it now? The Orange Bowl / whatever the frick the stadium.
Camping World.
Camping World Stadium is old as dirt, but it still has TVs, monitors everywhere, but they got the basketball game on. Why the frick don't you have the WrestleMania show on so I can at least see what the heck I'm missing as I'm sitting there for 42 hours in the line? Come on, help me out. Help a brother out. So that was my complaint. Long lines, old warm soda, and basketball on the TV when I'm trying to watch a wrestling event.
Man, there's 70,000 people there. What do you think? They got express lines like at Kroger or something?
Well, that's another thing. You sold out. You sold 72,000 tickets, and they were selling out of the cups. Did you not think to bring enough cups for, I don't know, maybe at least 25,000 people, maybe 30,000? 10,000 ain't gonna cut it. We are thirsty. We there for 3.5 hours per match with 52 matches on the card. We gonna get thirsty. Bring enough freaking cups.
All right, what you got, Shane?
I was about to go in on that stadium too. Like, this is the first time I've ever been to. This is the first time I've been out anywhere, and I've seen a long freaking line for the men's bathroom. Like, I guess this speaks to it's wrestling, so there's not a lot of women compared to men.
Right.
The men's bathroom lines, thank God Devin found a secret bathroom in this old-ass freaking stadium. That, I was like, I'm about to have to hold my pee for like 8 hours because there is no way I'm standing in one of these lines to wait to go to the bathroom because I'm going to miss a match. Or I'm going to miss the start of a match. I mean, this stadium, I was not a fan of the stadium. Like Darius said, you go give us a souvenir cup that's 32 ounces. It's this size, damn it. This size, and our soda is coming right here without ice. We get back to our seats because it's 85 damn degrees in the stadium. Hot. I'm just like, what the hell? And because they don't want us to throw bottles, so I guess they're taking our bottles. But then you got the guys selling beer in the cans, and they're giving the guys the beer in the cans. I mean, I was just over the stadium. I was over the fact that this show started at 5:30 and it didn't end until 12 o'clock. And then I was just pissed because then it was hard as hell. Everybody called it an Uber now, but the Ubers can't get through because they're blocking off all the damn road. I was just so completely blown by the whole experience. Other than the wrestling match.
But with all that being said, I'm looking at the chat room. Darius complaining about hot soda and long lines, but he gives the whole experience an A. He says it was an A experience. I asked in the chat room, what grade would you give WrestleMania? I'm seeing B's, B pluses, A's. We now have Black Mex, Courtney McIntosh on with us. We don't have a whistle here or the bat signal. But what grade would you give WrestleMania? We've been talking Mania here for the first half here. What grade would you give the show?
Probably a B minus, and that's being. I don't want to say that's being generous, but
really, it was a B minus.
Come on now.
Come on.
This ain't like an old episode of 205. Come on, man.
Hold on. Before
205 is not old.
Before I get started,
it's old to me. I watched 2 episodes and I'm done.
Hold on, I gotta introduce myself properly. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
You show up 40 minutes late to work and you need to introduce yourself?
Really? Are we serious right now?
Okay, yeah.
You know what that sound was? That's the sound. That's the sound of people or internet browsers.
Don't do it, people.
Look, I stepped away for a minute because my computer is about to die. I had to go find my charger. I should just let it die for all of that.
Oh boy. No, but I give Mania a B, and here's why.
Don't let us persuade you. Don't let us make you change your grade.
Oh yeah, B minus.
If it's a B minus, tell us why it's a B minus.
It's a B minus, and here's why. Part of and I understand because it was. I'm pretty sure y'all cats was in there for hours, like y'all was working a full-time job in that joint. But I think part of it is you gotta keep the crowd into it, and it just seemed like at certain points, especially like the end, was I don't know, man. I just wasn't into it. Me as a fan. Let me see. I didn't really care about the kickoff, so I didn't watch the kickoff.
And you missed a good match there because Neville and Austin Aries, that was a good match.
No,
that probably was top 5 matches of the night for me.
I mean, I do regret missing that, but I was catching up on watching NXT during the first couple minutes of Mania, which that tag match from NXT was incredible. But anyway, back to Mania. So it was just the Battle Royal, the SmackDown women's match, even though, I wanted Naomi to win, she won. I think the Raw Women's Championship match, the girls had better chemistry than they had in their Raw matches as of late, because if you think about it, their most recent Raw matches have been like sloppy. I don't think this match was as sloppy. It just wasn't. I was into it for the first half. Then the Seth Rollins Triple H match. Well, actually, the concert is what killed it for me, probably. I mean, and I don't know how it was with you guys in the stadium.
I wasn't in my seat for the concert, so I didn't see one second of the concert.
I like that song though, but I mean,
the white folks was dancing up to that song. That was a perfect little song. It was catchy to the mug. I was singing it like all day Sunday. Like I'm in church. I'm like, man, I can't be humming the WrestleMania theme song in church, man. It's that ain't right. So every time it popped up on the screen, it got a sing along. It was karaoke up in there. So
but you got to think you heard it 100 times in the lead up to WrestleMania. I mean, even my kids were singing along to it. I'm like, geez, man, we must have heard this song a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
But it was just, especially towards the latter end of, the card. It just was, I hope that the mixed tag match, I had high hopes for that, and it was decent, and of course, Cena got the cheap cornball pop with the proposal.
Why I gotta be cheap and cornball? Why can't people just like love, Courtney? I'm like,
What
are you, a sociopath? Like,
no, man, I like love, man, but it's just kind of.
We were booing the hell out of him there. He got a pop.
No, it definitely came across like once. Okay,
on TV, yeah.
So when you're watching on TV, it was definitely boos initially. But once like people, like the majority of the people was like, wait a minute, this is like real. Like he's actually about to do this. Then I think people like legitimately like felt bad. Like, man, hold on, I can't boo, a marriage proposal. Then he used their real name. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is legit. So I wasn't like clapping or anything. It definitely wasn't like Macho Man reunites with Elizabeth or anything like that. But it was okay for what it was. I was happy for Nikki because that's something she's been wanting for a long time. She just told TMZ today though, hey, we still can't have no kids because John don't want kids.
Yeah.
Man, John Cena is a savage, man. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like he's a straight up like John Cena. Like, look, I'm the man. I'm rich. I don't want to get married. I don't want no kids. And Nikki just like, I'm with it. So hey, John Cena is the real Godfather. Forget Kama Mustafa.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did the boos for Roker come off on screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I thought of when I heard him get booed? It was almost like Pete Rose. Like, remember when Pete Rose was like getting like booed out of the arena and Kane Tombstone and everybody went crazy? I was hoping like Kane was gonna come out, come from his Tennessee campaign running for mayor and come in the arena and Tombstone Al Roker. That would have been crazy. Hot Dog made a good point in the chat room, and then we'll shift over. Want to shift over to Raw a little bit. He made a good point about the women's matches, especially that Fatal 4-Way. It felt really rushed. I don't know if you guys got that vibe watching it live, but or seeing it, seeing the show live in person. But it just felt like when they came out, their time was like cut short, because it was like really. Last year, the triple threat between the ladies, that garnered a lot of ring time, but this match was particularly short to be a fatal 4-way. And color me surprised a little bit that Bayley actually retained.
Me too.
I thought that like they were gonna either throw the title back on Charlotte, or Sasha Banks was gonna make the heel turn and beat Bayley. But once I saw that the final two were Charlotte and Bayley, I was like, maybe Bayley's gonna retain here. But I felt both women's matches were a bit rushed. More understandable with the SmackDown Women's Championship match being that second to last match before Taker and Reigns. But overall, man, I was entertained. I know you guys said you felt the full breadth of the 5 hours. You felt like, gosh, I was there all that time. But watching it at home, man, relaxing, chilling, it didn't really feel like it was entertaining. It was entertaining. It definitely held my attention. People didn't like Flo Rida's performance, man. Flo Rida I'm married, but I ain't blind. He had some dancers out there. He had the ladies out there. And I was like, okay, well, and I'm surprised the Caribbean Playboy, but he's not as playboyish as he once was.
I took the time to use that as my bathroom and concession break. I'm sorry.
Which is definitely understandable. So let's shift over to Raw. Obviously, the Raw after WrestleMania is the biggest Raw of the year typically.
Everybody take a shot. Red light, green light.
Did you just get a new phone or something and enjoying playing your songs on it? Did you just discover that you can play music on your cell phone, Courtney? What's going on?
I don't know, man. I just like to throw music in.
Hey, that reminds me of the dude, whoever was working that the lights from Bray Wyatt and just throwing all that random crap on the map. Ooh, I got a new tool. How about worms? How about roaches?
I gotta ask y'all this: how did that come across as terrible in the arena? And tell what was going on in the ring.
It took me a second to figure it out. I don't know about Shane, but it took me a second, and then after that, I was like, okay, come on, let's stop.
Yeah. Hey, my son was bugging because a lot of sometimes you see a bunch of bugs together, gives you the willies and make you all itchy. My son's covering his eyes and being all crazy. But shifting over to Raw, okay, we all have to agree, right, that what Roman Reigns did was brilliant, right, at the beginning of the show.
Man, listen, that is the greatest Roman Reigns performance I've ever seen.
And he only said 4 words. It's my yard now. Yeah.
I so agree. I loved every second of that. I loved the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
For them waiting for every time he put that mic to his mouth. They just intensified the chants. Mm-hmm. And I loved Roman. He pointed at his hand, talking about he got them right in the palm of his hand. I love that. Roman does some things, as much as I don't like him because they strapped that rocket to his back and shot him, down our throats. He does some things sometimes. I'm like, you know what? I like this dude sometimes. And Monday night was one of them. I loved that. That was 15 minutes or whatever it was, but it was worth it. It was.
I don't understand. Help me. I understand, but I don't understand why people don't like Roman Reigns.
Neither do I. I really
don't get it. because look, the dude doesn't really have bad matches. I mean, he's not like, Cena. Well, now Cena has a little more moves in his repertoire, but I mean, he's not as robotic as John Cena. I'm not saying that like, Roman Reigns comes to the ring and he's AJ Styles or something. He's not like killing you with all the athleticism. I mean, well, he is athletic, but I understand the whole Vince and WWE's pushing them down our throats. But the dude, to me, he's money, man. I don't get why people dislike him so much.
He is.
And maybe and a lot of the guys might dislike him because he's a good looking dude with those eyes, and their women probably lust after him. When there was a time where Camille was watching Raw and SmackDown with me nightly, and that was her one guy that she liked. She's like, oh, Roman Reigns. She could be doing something on her phone or whatever. Roman Reigns comes out on TV, and she's just like watching it, and she's like, oh my, look at his eyes,
His eyes, sure.
Yeah, my wife was like, why is his hair so greasy? I'm like, whatever. So like, I'm applaud. Like she's actually sitting in the living room with me. I'm watching Raw. She does not watch wrestling at all. But she's feeding, the baby and all, sitting up front. And I'm like, man, that was brilliant. After Roman Reigns does his thing, and she was like, he didn't say anything. I said, I know. That's what makes it so brilliant. And she's just like, this is so stupid, and like gets up and walks out. Like, this is just so ignorant. But yeah, I thought that was really good. Raw though, overall, I'm gonna go here, people. You guys can jump in and chime in. I do not like the crowds after Raw. I don't like the hijack. I don't like, after WrestleMania. I don't like the hijack crowds. I think sometimes you take away from, they take away from the show. I know they're free to express themselves and say what they want to say. Like, perfect example is the Neville Mustafa Ali match. That was a great match. Mustafa Ali had a lot to offer, a lot to show, but the crowd chanting random stuff took so much away from that match. It almost made it not enjoyable. It was a really good match. And sometimes, just the random chants and all of that. Some of it is funny, some of it is cool. But for the most part, for me, like, it's like, man, it's getting old now. It's like we gotta move on to something else. But how about the confrontation between Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman? That perked my eyebrows up a little bit. What did you guys think about that?
Before I get to that, I didn't, when you were telling us about the crowds during the show, or texting me about it, I was like, oh, it's all right. I hated the Undertaker chant at the beginning of the show. Like, I absolutely hated it. And I do hate those crowds, especially after WrestleMania.
You hate the Undertaker because you didn't like him at the end of WrestleMania. You don't like the chants.
No. I had no problem with Taker at the end of WrestleMania. No problem at all. I actually stood up and clapped as he walked halfway up that football. He walked to the 50-yard line of the ramp and then waited to go down. You know what I'm saying? But that chant was just annoying to open the show with. But then Roman comes out and it's like the biggest booze I've ever heard on Raw. With that being said, when I heard that roar when Brock was in the ring, I was like, oh man, we about to get us some now. And then, the way Strowman backed away, was, I thought it was interesting that we didn't see Reigns, for the rest of the show. But I'm all for some Lesnar Strowman, I'm all for it.
Now listen to this. Isn't this where the wrestling fan is hypocritical? Is Brock Lesnar not pushed down our throats the same way that Roman Reigns is? Yep. When Brock Lesnar's career started, when he was the next big thing, wasn't he was the youngest champ, and and then Orton came along, but he beat The Rock at SummerSlam. He was pushed down our throats. He had no charisma. He was pretty vanilla. I was watching some old stuff that he was doing back on SmackDown back in the day a couple days ago, and even in his return, right? He's the beast incarnate. He's this big bad dude, and I guess because of what he accomplished,
John Cena can beat him.
Yeah, and what he accomplished in UFC, maybe that garnered him some respect from the fan base. But aren't their trajectories no different? Aren't they like the same?
Big difference is he's a heel, so if he gets booed and he gets hated, it was part of the flow. It just added and melted into the juice. And I think because he's so impressive in the ring, he's not going to get that legit X-Pac heat for getting that push since he's a heel. So I think because he's a heel and because it's very hard to deny his athleticism and his abilities and his skills, where you can blame it on Roman being, pretty or whatever it is. He's a good guy and he's pretty. There's things that you can kind of throw, stones at. Whereas if you're a heel, you can kind of get away with some of those same things.
But is Brock, amazing in the ring though? Because the Brock Lesnar I've seen since he come back has 2 moves. He has a worse move set than John Cena. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get what you're saying, because
that's all he needs, because he's just this monster.
Yeah, please don't go with the move set thing. I hate that. All wrestlers only have too. 5 moves.
I do too.
Yeah.
But it's kind of I agree with you, Darius, because Brock was always pushed as a heel, and if people cheer for him, they cheer for him. They try to make the crowd love Roman. And I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest factor in why the fans hate Roman, because we were told, hey, you have to love this guy. You're going to love this guy. Regardless of how you feel, we're going to make you love him. And it backfired.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still, like I said, I get the point Darius is making about Brock is a heel, but is he? I mean, because they cheer him, right? They cheer him. They boo Roman Reigns, so he's kind of in that Austin kind of tweener, phase there. But I was looking at Daniel Price in the chat room, made a good point about the potential of Lesnar versus Reigns at WrestleMania 34. He thinks that Paul Heyman played his hand a little bit, playing on the only 2 men to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. And we've kind of, or at least I've been hearing and reading rumblings about that's kind of the route that WWE wants to go for WrestleMania 34. But we got such a long way to go. Would you guys have issue with that being the main event at next year's Mania?
Yes.
I'm gonna say, don't all speak at once.
I mean, I would have issue with Lesnar holding the title that long, because to me that's ridiculous. We know he's not going to be on Raw every Monday. We did this song and dance before with him being the champ and not being on the show. Yeah,
And that's another reason. That's another reason why you would think the fan would not, be a big on Brock Lesnar, because he's a part-timer. You even saw a little bit with Goldberg. I don't know if you guys noticed,
Sorry, that was just no. I got an update because the game was over. And yes,
I'm like, how does that fit in?
What does Detroit basketball have to do with?
Yeah, I mean, I got the Pistons app on my phone, and every time like the quarter ends, it gives me that Detroit basketball.
That's all right. We're not trying to do a podcast here or anything.
We're not doing a show at all. No. And I even forgot what I was talking about. But
Goldberg.
About Goldberg.
So Goldberg, you could kind of see the fans were kind of turning on him a little bit. Like when he first came back, it was Goldberg, cheering, chanting his name. And obviously, when you have that Raw after WrestleMania crowd, they like we said, they like to cheer the bad guys and and boo the good guys. So when he came out on the little Raw talk, I don't know if you guys caught any of that. He was getting booed, but he actually played the crowd pretty well because he was like, "Look, I'm not speaking from a script. Y'all gonna give me some respect. Damn it!" And then they were like, everybody was like, start cheering, like, "Yay!" It was like, dang, like he flexes authority a little bit and his brought his son in the ring, and then they started cheering him. That got him over. Once he brought the kid in the ring, it's like, we can't boo him anymore. So so he played that pretty good. But just the part-time thing, right? You would think like the only guy that really gets away with that and gets cheered every time is like The Rock. Like he gets away with it no matter how long he's gone. He comes back and they love him. But you would think because Brock is kind of a part-timer that he would get some of the treatment that Roman Reigns does. So, but I digress. So yeah, we want to thank you guys for listening to episode 330 of Hit the Ropes Radio. Everybody in the chat room. The chat room is live today, guys.
Yo, shout out to Daniel Price, man.
Daniel Price. John's mad at us for some reason. I don't know. What did we do to John?
John has no idea.
John's like, I'm done with HTR in all caps.
Maybe because we were talking about Roman Reigns, I'm looking at his comments about Roman Reigns.
John hates Roman Reigns.
Yes.
John better get a life.
I'm like, come on, John.
I'm trying to think. I don't want to throw this out there, but John also doesn't like Nia Jax. Hey, I don't know, man. John, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, well,
talk to us. Let us know.
Does he have, or are you trying to imply that he has something against Samoans? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't imply anything. I'm just saying.
No, you
flat out said it.
You pretty Roman Reigns, Nia Jax, they're cousins. What do they have in common? They're Samoan. Does he hate the Usos too? Is that what you're saying? Come on, lay it out there, Courtney. Don't be afraid.
Hey, man, I didn't imply anything at all.
Okay, all right, guys. Real quick, I know we're gonna wrap up this episode. Finn Balor came back. I think everybody expected that. Nobody was really surprised by that. We did get a debut on Raw, and that was of the Revival. That seemed to get a really huge pop from the crowd. I didn't know a whole lot about the Revival, but I know the last two matches I saw him in, which was in the last two takeovers, I was like, wait a minute, these guys are pretty good. So looking forward to seeing, and they went over on the New Day the first night on Raw. That's pretty big.
Fall of the New Day.
You think it's the fall of the New Day, of course, because you don't think Kofi Kingston is a Hall of Famer anyway. So
that's right.
This is just all checks off your list here.
Where's the sound effect, Courtney?
oh, please, no, we don't know. He's just joking. Shane, SmackDown Live, Ty Dillinger, Nakamura. Did you like it?
Listen. I've been a Ty Dillinger fan since he was Gavin Spears. So, back in the day when it was the WWE ECW or whatever the heck it was, back when he was Spears back then, I was a Ty Dillinger fan. I'm happy for him. Perfect 10 right there. I'm not so happy that Nakamura is possibly going to be feuding with The Miz.
What?
I mean, he interrupted.
That was so random.
Leaving, and then
it was. I did not like. Other than his entrance, which was fire. Like his when he uses the violin, it's straight fire. But it was just like, okay, you're just coming out here and where's Miz?
Yeah, and then he doesn't even have a match. He doesn't have a match. He stands in the ring, which is I'm all for. I love the song. I love his antics and all of that, but I'm like, I don't want to see you fight The Miz. I like The Miz too much. I'm like, this should be the year of The Miz right now. I want to see Miz in the title picture. I don't want to have to choose. Oh my God, stop it.
Please.
Sorry. I mean, it just seemed like the occasion called for it. So
late.
So, I enjoyed those debuts. I don't know how everything is going to play out because we're apparently going to have a shakeup. It was not called a draft. He said it's going to be a shakeup. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be trades. I don't know.
They did
but he never said a draft.
They did say today that, you know, it's going to be like, you know, trades, potential moves made, stuff like that. So.
Call-ups, NXT call-ups,
yeah.
All of those things are on the table. So
you know who's gonna need a call-up? Damian Sandow, aka Aaron Rex, because he's no longer with Impact.
I just read that like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, and he's actually talking about. He says he feels like he accomplished what he needed to accomplish in professional wrestling, and he's comfortable with retiring. So he may be done wrestling altogether.
Yeah, that's code for WWE ain't gonna have me back, so I'm just gonna hang up my boots. That's what that code for.
Well, another former WWE guy who went to TNA is now back in NXT, and Drew Galloway, aka
Chosen
Drew
One
McIntyre. I think a move to NXT is good for him. I think they need some more. You know, not that they're, you know, Nakamura's coming up, Ty Dillinger's coming up, the Revival's going up. You know, there's speculation that DIY might be a part of this whole shakeup thing. You know, some of the more popular tag teams and singles competitors are being moved up to the two bigger brands. So bringing a Drew McIntyre down there to be there with a guy like a Bobby Roode, and you got Cassius Ohno back, you know, I think that's a good move for him. What do you guys think?
I like it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
that's all I got.
They definitely, if they're gonna make this a third brand and not a developmental brand, which they've kind of they're playing a weird walking a weird line. It's an excellent move, and hopefully we'll see a couple more names.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you, because now I think what's happening is their NXT talent is so like becoming so popular. I think like Triple H and Vince is probably pulling on them like, hey, we need some of these guys, you know, some of these guys up here. Although, and I hate to say it, you guys are gonna kill me for saying it, I think a guy like Ty Dillinger is probably a perennial mid-carder on the main brand on SmackDown or Raw.
Hey, get that money. Get that money.
But I'm just saying, I think like he didn't even have an NXT title run. Like, if he would have stayed down, you know, you could have easily paired him with Bobby Roode, and I know he's been in NXT for a long time, so I'm sure, you know, the call up for him is like, thank God it finally happened. But he probably would have got more of a high profile run, you know, being involved with the program on NXT for the next year. Do you disagree with that? You agree with that?
Disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. I don't think there was anything left for him down there. It's kind of like with Tyler Breeze before he was called up. I thought Tyler had done everything that he could down there, even though Tyler didn't win the NXT championship down in NXT. He accomplished everything that he was going to. He hit that ceiling. And Dillinger's 36 years old. So at this point, they're like, you know what? I think they're like, we got to figure out if he's going to sink or swim. If he's a perennial mid-carder, I mean, hey, more. But
I mean,
don't think
Dolph Ziggler's
left.
been a perennial mid-carder.
He's a two-time world champion, and he's an almost Hall of Famer according to what we did last week.
Okay,
right.
If we're being honest, Dolph Ziggler was a mid-carder when he was champion, bro. If we're being honest, okay.
Well, you gave the Tyler Breeze analogy. Let's just hope Ty Dillinger in the next year isn't dressing up like a sailor coming to the ring every week.
I hope so.
Yo, let me ask you this,
okay,
especially to Shane, since he's such a fan, because I'm confused. He's been there forever, and maybe that's why fans get behind him, because he is, you know, they're like the little engine that could. But and he did it, so kudos. I'm not gonna take it away from him. But without the 10 thing, there's nothing to him. Before all that, before he had the perfect 10 gimmick, it's just like the Yes gimmick. It just caught on with the fans. The fans have taken over, and it's something fun for them to do, just like the What chant. So they get behind that. They get behind the fun of chanting something. We know how fans like to take over. They like to say 10 when refs are doing the 10 count. When someone gets out of the ring, they count 10 on 1 and 10 on 2 and 10. So, which that was hilarious. That was amazing. I partaked in that in WrestleMania. But going back to Ty Dillinger, he's just nothing great about him. He's a good hand in the ring. He is. So that's I could see him in NXT. You say he accomplished all he could. That's probably true, but that's because all he could isn't all that much. So
somebody in the chat room made a great point. He's Sami Zayn 2.0. I think Daniel Price made that point in the chat room. He said he's gonna come up to the main roster and he's gonna get the Sami Zayn treatment. He's a good hand, a good wrestler.
Hey, Sami Zayn is on TV every week.
Okay, true. Yes, so, absolutely.
I mean, you get seen. Shout out to Darius and Daniel Price for dropping knowledge today.
But listen. That's an interesting point that Darius made about the people being more behind the 10 than actually being behind Ty Dillinger. Now, the comparison to Daniel Bryan and Yes and Stone Cold with What, I don't know about that because I think the people were behind the actual wrestler and the catchphrase.
Because you got to think, man.
What?
Austin hasn't wrestled
a match.
Steve
Austin?
Not Stone Cold.
When was the last time Austin wrestled a match? And people still chant What after everything. Right. People, fell in love with the chant. I mean, people love
still
Austin.
Chant Yes at matches, but I think without the whole Yes gimmick, people would have still been behind Daniel Bryan.
Dude,
Daniel Bryan was popular before the Yes stuff was going on. They were chanting his name and wanting him, even when he was, wearing the plain Jane stuff and being the Miz's rookie in NXT.
No, they weren't.
No, he was over, but he was like indie wrestling over. Like he was popular to hardcore fans, but he got released. WWE.
Why did he come back? Because the outcry for him being fired was so large that they had to bring him back.
And look, right, he took off with the Yes chant. He took off to WWE popularity with the Yes chant. Right, until that point, he was okay. He was good in the ring, but he had no personality. He had no charisma. And then he got the Yes, and he took off.
I don't think he suddenly found his personality. I think Daniel Bryan always had. I think his personality was always there.
Did you watch? You watched ROH?
But people respect you more for your wrestling prowess in ROH than they do in WWE. Though.
Right, and you couldn't see him. You couldn't see his face anyway to see personality. It's ROH, so the lighting is bad.
It's too dark.
Suddenly found this charisma and all of this. I think it was already there. But he wasn't able to put that on display until we started getting this Yes and the No and the him and Kane and all of this. I think that made it was more comfortable for him. Suddenly went to like some mentor or trainer was like, okay, you've now found your personality.
Well, he stole that from Diego Sanchez from the UFC anyways. So
I don't care about stealing. I'm a teacher. We steal from everybody. We go on the internet. Oh, this is a nice worksheet. Boom. We tell our kids not to plagiarize, but we steal all day, every day.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'm just saying, he lucked into it. He has tools, but he had a lot of help. And of course, that's part of it. I get it. But Ty Dillinger.
You don't remember when they were in the ring with all the superstars and John Cena had the mic and they're chanting Daniel Bryan. You don't remember that? You don't remember that? That was like right before what? Like SummerSlam or something?
But that was when Daniel Bryan was getting constantly held down by the man. That's not part of his charisma.
Exactly. So the point that I'm making, which Courtney, you just brought it to the table, no pun intended, is that the people were behind Daniel Bryan and not a yes chant. They were tired of him being held down. Yeah. They wanted to see him rise. Now the yes chant, did it help
that was
him? Did it nail him?
Yo,
absolutely. But
tell that to Zack Ryder.
Fans,
right.
Okay, but come on.
Tell that to Zack Ryder.
That's a horrible comparison.
No, Zack Ryder was super over on the internet and got behind, and then the WWE pushed him, and he couldn't quite.
No. The WWE started his YouTube channel first.
Why is Daniel Bryan over? Why was he over before the yes stuff? Why was he over?
He's good in the ring.
Exactly. Has anybody ever used the words Zack Ryder and good in the ring together at one time?
Zack Ryder had personality, man.
He had personality. He was much more entertaining than Zack. So they succeeded at different points, different aspects. So one did it well on the mic, quote unquote, and the other did it in the ring. The only thing is, Daniel Bryan found that other part where Zack Ryder he stayed the same.
It's no different than AJ Styles, right? AJ Styles, before he came to WWE, nobody really perceived him as being a guy with a whole lot of personality or really a lot of skill on the mic, just kind of average, but a phenomenal, pun intended, wrestler.
Right. Now,
though, he's been able to develop some of his personality, and he's good. He's decent on the mic. He's a good heel, and but AJ Styles was over before he developed personality because he could wrestle, which is the same thing Daniel Bryan had going for him before he got the whole yes stuff going on. But really quick, guys, because I know we're in a little bit of, I guess we're about an hour, but a little bit of overtime. Real quick, I just want you guys to give me 2 names each. 2 names of somebody that you want to see in this whole shakeup go to the other brand. You can give me somebody that you either want to see go from SmackDown to Raw or Raw to SmackDown, or somebody that you want to see get called up from NXT. I'll go Courtney, then Shane, then Darius.
Okay, before I get started, man, you got somewhere to go in the morning, man? I mean, my kid's on spring break. I got to get up in the morning. We were having good conversation.
This is true, man.
Excuse me, sir. You've only been here for half an
hour. Hey, it's like him walking in like if he was at WrestleMania Live and he comes in, 3 hours. The show's been going on for 3 hours. He comes in at hour number 2. Then the show ends. He's like, "Where's everybody going? It was just getting good." You guys like, "I've been here for 12 hours. I'm ready to go home." But Courtney, give us two names or tag teams or individual wrestlers. Give us 2 people.
Okay, so number 1, I'd have to say, even though I think him moving would lead to him getting, buried more and more down the card, is Dolph Ziggler moving from SmackDown to NXT. No, I'm just kidding. SmackDown.
That would actually be a benefit for him. Actually,
it would.
It'd be a benefit for NXT too, though.
It would be because here's the thing about Dolph, man, is Dolph gets stale very easily. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what it is. It could be the overselling. It could be the fact that, man, he's a stand-up comedian, man. He should have more personality than that comes across on TV. But, I think him leaving, SmackDown would be good for him because he's kind of feuded with all the top guys on SmackDown except for Randy. But we also don't believe that, he'll be in the title picture, going toe-to-toe with Randy, I mean, at this point in his career. So I think, moving him to Raw, like I said, it'll give him, push him further down the ladder. It'll also give him more opportunities to compete as well. So
Daniel Price is stealing all of our thunder, man. It's all good, Daniel. He also said Ziggler to Raw. He said fresh, legit, credible heel angle. if you move him, and I hope he also said mine too, which I think maybe one somebody else says. But give us your second one, Courtney. Then we'll go to Shane and then Darius.
Okay, shout out to Daniel Price because mine was gonna be Sami Zayn. I mean, Sami Zayn has been, and I believe Hot Dog said this. Yeah, Sami Zayn is on TV every week, but he's getting his ass handed to him every week. I mean, and he is. He is a guy who needs a fresh start, man. I think, he can hold his own with, everybody on SmackDown, probably with the. I mean, look, man, we know Zayn can wrestle. I think he needs a bit of a character refresh because he really is just like it seems like his character is the guy that's just happy to be there, instead of like having any other type of redeeming qualities other than the fact that, people chant Olay when he's in the ring.
I mean, when he was on the indie scene, he was El Generico. His name is generic. So
I almost forget that he was El Generico. El Generico was dope too, man. He was sweet.
But that was wrestling. Like what character wise did you see out of him other than that, he was always the perpetual good guy.
He was a mask guy. Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Hot Dog. He has a great suggestion in the chat room, and that's Rusev to SmackDown. Yo, Rusev is the most underused guy they have on the roster. If you're
supposed to have two.
True.
Okay. First of all, I didn't say that was mine. I just said shout out to Hot Dog. Then I threw my 2 cents on Rusev. Shane, what you got now?
Is Rusev injured? I haven't seen him on TV in a while.
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe he is injured, but I'm pretty sure if we just wait a few seconds, not Demetrius, sorry, Mac will shout out somebody in the chat room because they will point out what happened.
Yeah, shout out to so-and-so in the chat room. Rusev has a strained calf muscle.
Whatever.
All right, Shay, go. He had nothing for that one. That was too good.
No, I didn't.
All right, what you got, Shay? Two people that you would like to see move or get called up or something.
Let me show Mac how it's done. I'm gonna name 2 people and 2 people only. All right. One is Asuka. I'm gonna move Asuka from NXT. I really don't care where she goes. She can go to Raw or SmackDown, but she's had the longest NXT women's title reign.
No, the longest NXT title reign, like period.
The longest NXT title reign period. Okay, shout out to Courtney McIntyre. But she's basically ran through everybody. I don't know what else is there for her to do other than lose the title to Ember Moon and then go on to Raw or SmackDown. So that is move number 1. Move number 2. And I'm gonna go. I wanted to go Sami Zayn, but that was already.
Yeah, I think everybody was gonna go Sami Zayn to SmackDown. Yeah. I know I was gonna go Sami to SmackDown.
So, I don't know. I would like to see if they could move Cesaro. I just want to see Cesaro on his own again. So I don't know if they're gonna move him or his partner, but I'm not going to say his partner's name because I'm just trying to move 2 people. I don't want to say a third name.
Come on, you can say it for the sake of your point. We understand here.
Yes,
but I actually like Sheamus and Cesaro though. I don't want him to break. I don't want him to break. Go ahead.
Matching outfits, they can't move.
Yeah, they got the kilts, man. They rocking it, man.
I do like them as a tag team, but I would like to, I'm more of a Cesaro fan than the Sheamus fan. So I'd like to see if Cesaro could recapture, some magic on the single scene, or what's going on with Tyson Kidd? Maybe if he's moved over to SmackDown, and then suddenly Tyson Kidd comes off the injured reserve, and then they can reteam. you know,
I
would
straight
just
up forgot about Tyson Kidd, man. He been.
I thought like his injury is like career threatening. Like he can't.
Yeah, I think he's done.
Yeah, isn't it something where they're like? Isn't it something similar to Daniel Bryan where it's like concussions or?
But it's his neck also.
Oh yeah, like his neck. Yeah. Okay.
I think
so. Yeah. So okay. So you said so you got Asuka, and you would like to see Cesaro and Sheamus break up.
right.
Okay. All right, Darius.
I'm gonna go with, and this is admittedly so premature, but I would like to see Sanity get pulled up under Bray Wyatt.
That's a good one.
I think that pairing would be amazing. And Bray needs to be freshened up. They keep flip-flopping Eric and Luke, and
gosh,
I don't know what to make of that trio. So I think if they just get a reboot, maybe keep Eric since he's there now. No need to kick him out. But I think it would, or if that group jumps Eric and now comes under Bray. But however they do it, I think that would be amazing. And then this nothing shocking, but I'd just like to see a return of Sheldon Benjamin. Put him on SmackDown, pair him with American Alpha, and let that be our new world's greatest tag team. Let's go.
Okay. All right, got you. Real quick, just some responses from people in the chat room. Hot Dog says Natalya to Raw in exchange for Sasha Banks. So a little trade in there. A little trade there. You know what? I'm gonna go. I would like to see the New Day go to SmackDown.
I was wondering if somebody was gonna say the New Day.
Yeah, New Day to SmackDown. Little change of scenery for them. Get them some fresh tag teams, I guess, to face. Although I guess now that I'm thinking about it, all the good tag teams are on Raw. But New Day.
The New Day's beat them all. So
yeah, New Day to SmackDown, and then I wouldn't mind seeing Seth Rollins go to SmackDown. Clear out some of that clogged up main event picture on Raw, if you will. Kind of move some of those guys over to SmackDown, because really you got Randy Orton, you got Bray Wyatt, you got AJ Styles, maybe Dean Ambrose. You don't have a whole lot of main event caliber guys, and really you don't have. Now they're teasing AJ Styles. They kind of teased him maybe turning face after shaking hands with Shane and showing respect on SmackDown last night. If you turn him face, like Bray Wyatt is like your only main event heel on SmackDown, unless they elevate Baron Corbin or something like that.
They need to.
And or I know, man. Baron Corbin is about as exciting as watching paint dry, to be quite honest with you. I'm sorry.
He should just come out and just start going 10. He'll
get over.
Boo! It would never be good.
I don't think they would. I know we said 2, right? But move Braun Strowman to SmackDown. He's world champ in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then there's nobody big enough on SmackDown.
I know.
All the big guys are on.
The newly moved over Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Daniel in the chat room says he hasn't seen a big man as good as Braun Strowman since Bam Bam Bigelow. Wow, that's a very
great company.
That's really good company, because Bam Bam's underrated, man. Bam Bam needs to be. Is Bam Bam a Hall of Famer?
Nah.
No.
I don't think so.
Nah. He might have. He probably could have and should have, but I don't know what happened to that dude. He went.
No, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Okay.
But he had some decent cartwheels for a 300-pounder.
Yeah, I could move. Yeah. And he fought Lawrence Taylor, man. Don't forget about that WrestleMania main event.
Boo on that.
I was about to say that's what WWE was really in the toilet at that point.
Yo, that was really a WrestleMania main event, yo.
Yes, it was,
bro.
It was. What was that? That was 11, right? Was it 11?
Something like that.
It was like I think it was a double main event. It was Bam Bam and Lawrence Taylor and Undertaker and Diesel. I think it was Big Daddy Cool.
Actually clarified he was talking about Bray Wyatt, not Braun Strowman.
Oh yes. Okay, that's an even better comparison. Yes, that. Yeah, Bray Wyatt he's built like Bam Bam, so that that makes a lot of sense. Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us for episode number 330 of Hit the Ropes Radio. Another good conversation with the whole crew. Want to thank all you guys in the chat room for joining us. It's been good convo. Be sure to join us next week for another exhilarating episode. Be sure to keep up with us on all of the social medias. We're at Hit the Ropes on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Hit the Ropes Radio. .com is the website. Fellas, do you have anything that you want to add before we sign off for the night?
10. 10.
And Hot Dog says, hell yes, Bam Bam is a Hall of Famer. I actually agree with him. Look, maybe I just got bad Hall of Fame criteria. I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Well, me and Hot Dog must be cut from the same cloth. Bam Bam Bigelow was the most agile big man ever.
Well, that's real nice Hall of Fame criteria, being an agile big man.
I was just saying that in the actual real world, he's not actually in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he wasn't Hall of Fame worthy. I agree he is Hall of Fame worthy.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you. So I'm not the only crazy.
The case, JaVale McGee's a Hall of Famer for being an agile big man. So
that's not comparable. That's not
hashtag Shaqtin'.
That's not comparable. You know, I mean, hey, if I said it once, I'll say it again. If Coco Beware can get in the Hall of Fame, carry to the ring every week, Bam Bam Bigelow can get in the Hall of Fame for having some flames tattooed on his head and wear the flame leotard to the ring and doing cartwheels at 345 pounds. You don't see that every just walking down the street. That's all I'm saying. We'll save this debate for another episode of Hit the Ropes Radio. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us, man. Be sure to join us next week, man, for another great show. For Demetrius, for Shane, for Darius, for Courtney, we're out for the night. Peace. Thanks for listening.
Peace.